Hello, this is Professor James Strickler, and this is a course in American government. This lesson is from Unit 1 about theories of government. It is Lesson 9 about the American solution to the question of what form government should take. In this lesson, you'll learn about the definition of Aristotle's polity, about the definition of a republic, about America's mixed form of government, and about the definition of a deliberative republic. In previous lessons, we learned that the problems of living without government would naturally lead us to want a government to provide us with security for our lives, our liberty, and our property. But having decided that we want government, we must next decide what form of government will be best. We then turn to the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle for guidance about the possible forms that a government might take. Aristotle organized and labeled the potential forms that a government might take, as represented in this chart. A single ruler seeking to benefit the whole community is monarchy, while a single ruler seeking to benefit himself or herself is tyranny. A small group of rulers who seeks to benefit the whole community are an aristocracy, while a small group of rulers who seek to benefit themselves are an oligarchy. And rule by the many is democracy, which is for the benefit of both the community and of the rulers, because they are the same. But this does not mean that Aristotle thought democracy was a good form of government. In fact, he, along with the founders of the United States of America, thought it was fraught with problems. So, of these options, which did Aristotle think was the best? Aristotle did not choose any of them. Instead, he suggested another option. He called it politeia. That word has evolved into the word polity that we use today. Aristotle approved of the idea of power residing with the people, but he worried about how they could fall prey to the dangers of democracy. So he imagined a popular government that would be dominated by a particular group within the community, the middle class, who he supposed would be less prone than other groups to ignorant and or selfish governance. Aristotle's polity can be called a mixed form of government, which has characteristics of more than one of his basic categories. While its power is rooted in the many, it is controlled by the few. While Aristotle's solution to the problems of choosing a form of government was to create a mixed government we call polity, what was the solution chosen by America's founding fathers when they created the United States of America? In creating what they believed would be the best form of government, the founding fathers faced a dilemma. They believed in a concept we have previously discussed in this course, popular sovereignty, which means that the people are the ultimate power in a system of government. This would seem to indicate that they would favor democracy. But they were also deeply skeptical of democracy, believing that the masses were too ignorant and easily persuaded by emotional arguments to make wise decisions. How could they leave the people in charge if they didn't trust the people? Their solution is revealed in this quote from James Madison. James Madison was one of the most important of the founding fathers of the United States of America. We will discuss him a lot more later in this course. Madison argued that the solution to the problem of choosing a form of government is to be found in a scheme of representation. This is what he called a republic. What Madison called a republic, we sometimes call representative democracy, even though that description is an inaccurate contradiction. Any scheme involving the people being represented in government is not true democracy. In a real democracy, the people are already part of the government and need no representatives. Furthermore, the founding fathers would have rejected the notion that they were creating any sort of democracy. No, they created a republic, and America remains a republic today. Nonetheless, some people like to use the term representative democracy because they feel it better conveys the idea that the people are still ultimately in charge, though they choose representatives to operate the government for them. But just deciding that the government will be representative is not enough to fully describe the structure of the American Republic. Let's refer back to Aristotle's Categories of government. The American Republic adopts aspects of several of them. The Founding Fathers' solution to the weakness of these different forms of government was to mix them together, like with Aristotle's polity, in the hope of gaining the best features of each form while preventing their problems. The American Republic embraces the efficiencies of the rule of one in the form of the presidency. By making the presidency an elective office, the Founding Fathers hoped to prevent the president from producing arbitrary results. Unlike a king, a president who behaved badly could be voted out of office. The American Republic embraces the diverse ideas and checks on power of the rule of a few in the form of Congress. By making the Congress subject to the people through regular elections, the Founding Fathers hoped to prevent Congress from conspiring to just serve elite interests. A Congress that behaves badly can be voted out of office. The American Republic embraces the sovereign authority of the rule of the many in the form of American citizen voters. But at the same time, the Founding Fathers hoped to prevent the dangerous ignorance and passions of democracy by entrusting actual governance to the presidency and the Congress. Having decided the form of the American Republic, it is still necessary to determine what processes through which it will govern. The term deliberative democracy is sometimes used to describe the processes through which the government of the United States functions. The term deliberative refers to taking the time to discuss and carefully consider a thing. In this case, it is describing the various processes that the American government must go through in order to act, such as the steps to pass a law. These processes were designed intentionally to make governing somewhat difficult. This would force negotiation and compromise to get anything done. The United States does not operate under real majority rule, as one would have in a true democracy. Taken altogether, the Founding Fathers' design for the government of the United States may be best described as a deliberative republic. In such a system, though the ultimate power resides with the masses, they cannot directly exercise that power, and they are even prevented from forcing their representatives to give them what they want, without consideration of other interests, no matter how intensely the passions of the masses may be inflamed. This completes our lesson. Now, let's review what we have learned. As Aristotle described it, what is a polity? Is it a middle-class dominated democracy? Or is it just the political community? Is it popular government? Or is it a police state? As Aristotle described it, a polity is a middle-class dominated democracy. As James Madison used the term, what is a republic? Is it a country without a king? Or is it an aristocratic government? Is it what some people call a representative democracy? Or is it a political party? As James Madison used the term, a republic is what some people call a representative democracy. What part of the American system of government may be described as an American monarchy? Is it George Washington? Or is it General Dwight D. Eisenhower? Or is it the chair of the Federal Reserve Board? Or is it the office of the presidency? The American monarchy is not any one man. It is the office of the presidency. What part of the American system of government may be described as an American aristocracy? Is it the United States Congress? Or is it billionaire business owners? Is it the Trilateral Commission? Or is it the Federal Reserve Board? The American aristocracy are arguably the United States Congress. What in the American system of government may be described as American democracy? Is it local town meetings? Or is it public opinion polls? Or is it the voters in America's national elections? Or is it every American citizen? Democracy means taking part in government. So the closest thing we have to an American democracy are the voters who participate in national elections. What is a characteristic of a deliberative republic? Is a deliberative republic quickly functioning? Or is it a collection of processes that inhibit majority rule? Or is it a collection of processes that encourage majority rule? Or does a deliberative republic focus on civil liberties? A deliberative republic is a collection of processes that slow down government and inhibit majority rule. That completes this lesson. The next lesson will also be from Unit 1. It'll be Lesson 10 about the origin of ideology.